It's Chiefs-Packers Sunday Night Football in prime time. It's a big-time game, so we brought on the big-time analyst. He's a football guy. He covers the sport because he loves the sport. Protector of Al Pacino impersonations, and he's the first of his name. It's not Perez Taylor, it's Terez Paylor. Terez, tell me something good. What's going on, man?
Oh, man, loving life, covering football for a living. Working at Yahoo, things are going well. Excited to be on with you. You know you're my guy, so yeah. I'll be there on Sunday. How about that?
Oh, there we go.
Good. Looking forward to the game.
We get a People's Champ appearance at Arrowhead Stadium. You know it's going to be a good night anytime that happens. Well, Terez, the first thing I got to ask you about with Chiefs-Packers storyline all week, I know that Coach Reid has not ruled Patrick Mahomes out for Sunday, so there's still going to be that chance. Because of, and I got to throw a little quick love right now to the University of Kansas Health System's Paul Schreppel. He is the doctor who ran on the field and put Pat's his kneecap back into place when he ran on the field less than 2 minutes after that injury. If it's not Patrick Mahomes, if it's Matt Moore, what do you see from this Chiefs offense going up against this Packers defense on Sunday night?
Well, I think the interesting thing is that I don't know how much it should change. If Patrick does go out there and play, you still want to run the football. You still want to limit exposure to hits. The Packers' defensive front is really good. Their edge rushers, the Smith brothers, Zadarius and Preston, they're very dangerous. And they're even more dangerous when you get behind the sticks and they get a lead. So I think from the Chiefs' point of view, the best thing you can do, run the football. You got to stop the run defensively, but they can keep this thing close, shorten the game, make sure that they dial up the good stuff on first down so they don't get behind the sticks and in obvious passing situations. That'll help them because you don't want to end up, in passing situations so Mac Pettin can break out his games and blitzes, and the two edge rushers who are really, really good, I'm telling you, get their sacks and start celebrating on you. You don't want that.
Mike Pettin, during that time that he was off, spent some time around Andy Reid and came to a few practices, and then obviously the two edge rushers and Zadarius and Preston Smith are being coached by Mike Smith, who was with the Chiefs the last few years, so there's some familiarity there. Those guys get after it. And I like that you brought up the running game because Lesean Mccoy, as much was made last week against the Broncos about the defensive performance and obviously Patrick Mahomes getting hurt. I think Lesean McCoy is really the one who provided the spark early in that game, in that running game. He had 14 touches for 76 yards in that game. And one thing that may help, and we don't know yet if he's going to play, but Eric Fisher returning to practice and potentially might be getting back out on the field. You're a guy who's watched that guy develop from the time that he first got here to Kansas City to becoming one of the better left tackles in all of football. How huge would it be if Fisher was able to get back on the field?
It's huge, man. People only really notice Fisher, when he gets beat. But, the thing about that is that it's happened less and less throughout his career. He's a big guy. He's agile. He's got his grown man strength now. He's a really good left tackle. Having him back would do a lot to solidify the pass protection. I think that's important. But he's another guy that I think that they got to, don't bring him back till he's ready because they need him in January. I think we all know the Chiefs are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to win this division. To me, it's about getting through the next few months here and being ready for the playoffs. Even if you have to play on the first round, that's fine. Yeah. He'll beat any team there. As long as they're healthy, I think the Chiefs are in a position to potentially win the AFC. So, yeah, he's a great player, and, it'd be good to get him back when he's healthy.
It's great to be in a position as an organization that you're building towards playing your best football at the end of the season as opposed to, whereas in years past, you're just hoping to have a few extra games at the end of the season. It's just a different mindset, a different culture right now. But one of the guys who has come back from injury, and I have to ask you about Tyreek Hill and what he's done, is I looked up the numbers. This guy has 17 career touchdowns of at least 50 yards in 50 career games, which means that 1 out of every 3 career games this guy plays, he scored a 50-yard touchdown. We saw it last week. He connected with Matt Moore. Matt Moore made a nice adjustment inside the pocket, delivered the ball down the field. And 10 of those 17 50-yard touchdowns have come in prime time. What is it about Tyreek's ability to make big plays when the lights come on?
I feel having him back allows defense, forces defenses to actually they have to defend the whole field because of that dynamic ability you mentioned. They can't just play single high coverage and smother the underneath stuff. You have to worry about Tyreek Hill. You have to devote extra resources to stopping him. Tyreek loves football. So when the lights are on and when it really matters, he's going to come to play. And his deep ball acumen, even at 5'9" or whatever, is elite. Like, he's a fantastic player, and he's really the key to unlocking the whole offense, because if defenses don't have to key in on him, they can devote resources to shutting down the run and Travis Kelce and all the little underneath intermediate stuff Andy can scheme up. So he's important. I thought the Chiefs did a really good job, like, bringing him back when he was ready, and having him into the mix was important, man. Like, having him back, you already see defenses trying to having to change how they played against them offensively, as opposed to when he was out.
Yeah, and whether it's Sammy Watkins, if he's able to get on the field, Demarcus Robinson, we've seen Byron Pringle start making plays, McCole Hardman has made plays, and obviously Travis Kelce with what happens with Tyreek, those safeties playing deep, Kelce across the middle. We've seen it. Now, for the Packers defense on that side of the ball, we know about the two edge rushers. We already talked about them, but one of the guys in Jair Alexander, their cornerback, who's one of the better young defensive backs in this league, that if you haven't heard about him yet, you're going to hear about him soon. What is it that's so special about his game, in your opinion?
Ball hawk, super competitive, really goes up and gets it, quick hips, just a really good corner. He'll make Pro Bowls. Might be an all-pro someday. Really good player, and he gets a chance to hawk on balls because of his pass rush. So, a good way to face this team is to go in there and find a way to establish, the ground game, make them respect it, and then you can hit them with play action stuff off that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do there. And last question on the Chiefs offense versus the Packers defense is, if it's not Patrick Mahomes, what do you expect the Chiefs offense to look like if it's Matt Moore who's under center?
I think that, Andy, it'll either be some creative runs or it'll be like well-schemed short passes. Like, anything to, like, keep the clock moving, right? Like, you want to get in a rhythm. You want to keep your defense off the field. So it might not be runs. It might be just well-schemed short passes that Matt Moore is comfortable with, right? And honestly, that could be the game plan even if Patrick plays. So as long as they can get in a rhythm, keep things going, shorten this game, they have a chance to win.
Yeah, we saw last week the Raiders had some success offensively when they were able to scheme plays that targeted Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith in coverage. It wasn't a lot, but when they got those situations, whether it was pre-snap motion, whether it was just the formation, personnel grouping, whatever it was, they found the matchups they wanted to try to get those guys in space. It's something, I don't have to tell you how good Andy Reid is at that throughout his career, one of the best in the league, if not one of the best all time, as far as play calling, scheming up plays and formations and all that good stuff. And now we've made it this far. We have not yet talked about number 12, the guy under center for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Everybody who's watching this video has seen Aaron Rodgers play, but this season with Matt LaFleur and this new offensive scheme, playing a little bit more in pocket, in rhythm, what have you seen from him in this offense so far this season?
It's basically one of the game's greatest quarterbacks in the Sean McVay offense. Pre-snap motion, RPOs, play action. You have to respect the run. If you can't stop the run, it's going to be a long day. It starts there. You got to stop the run. Packers' zone run game is nasty. It's good. Really good offensive line. They climbed to the next level. I mean, they beat up Dallas pretty good a couple weeks ago with the run game, right? And Aaron Jones tends to play like in spotlight games, so he plays well. So it's going to start with them being gap sound, not getting reached up front, playing with good eyes, form tackling, that type of deal. Starts there. And if you do that, then you got a chance, because then you worry a little less about the play action. And then you're relying, then basically, you have a chance, because then Rodgers basically has to do his magician thing. And you can't depend on that, even though he's capable of doing it. So, that's where the game plan is for the Chiefs. Like, hey, play with good discipline. Don't get reached.
Right.
Be gap sound and stop the run, or at least contain it.
Yeah, and we know that Aaron Rodgers is off to an MVP type of start to his season. 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. A lot of that has been without Davante Adams. We don't know if he's going to play in this game because he's still dealing with that turf toe. But Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Geronimo Allison, Alan Lazard, those guys have stepped up, those young receivers. And Aaron Rodgers, the last 3 games without Davante Adams, he's still throwing over 300 yards per game, 7 touchdowns. And again, that's with 3 guys who, it's not James Jones, Jordy Nelson, Davante Adams. He doesn't have all those experienced receivers, and he's still out there making plays because of guys like you mentioned with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, their other running back who gets things going. I think he's averaging about 4.6 yards per carry. So I think you're exactly right. And that Packers offensive line probably isn't getting enough credit and is one of the best in the league, particularly those two tackles. But I want to ask you about that matchup because we saw against the Broncos, the Chiefs defense had their way up front in getting pressure on Joe Flacco. 18 of Flacco's 42 dropbacks, he was under pressure. Chiefs ended up with 9 sacks in that game. Do you see that as something that they can build upon going into this Packers game, or do you think that was strictly because of that matchup against the Broncos?
I don't think it was a one-off. I think, sometimes, you kind of hear in Steve Spagnuolo's system, there are enough checks and stuff that it takes guys a little while to get fully comfortable and confident in it. And I kind of wonder if we just saw them finally kind of get it on Thursday, or if they started run blitzing more. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, let's keep it up. I think most people around here would be fine with them going down if they went down, just being aggressive. Yeah. Right. Let's not just keep waiting and seeing. Let's be aggressive and start dictating the game a little bit defensively, which they did against the Broncos. It'll be harder this week if they can find a way to do it against the Packers. I think that could do a lot to dispel a lot of concerns about this defense.
Well, Aaron Rodgers, one of the best in the league against the blitz. So maybe everybody's going to take a page out of the Patriots book and just do the cover zero blitz, just send an extra guy every time and see if anybody can handle it. I don't think anybody's going to be seeing ghosts in the backfield for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think when you bring up the run defense, you talk about all the sacks and pressure. We got to talk about Derek Nottie had one of the best games of his young career against the Broncos. And one of the things, and I detailed in a video earlier this week, is that so much about sacks isn't just a one-on-one, a guy beating another guy one-on-one. It takes everybody. It takes the defensive backs being on their guys to get that quarterback off his first read. And that's why I detailed with Flacco so many times, whether it was Juan Thornhill or whether coming down to take away a receiver, which caused Flacco to come off his read that allowed a guy to get home, or those times where you'd bring a blitz, you'd stun or twist at that defensive tackle, whether it was Colin Saunders a couple times or Derek Nottie, would kind of occupy that offensive lineman to create the lane for the pass rush. So I think you bring up a great point, and that it takes a little bit of time for the timing and just for guys to learn how to play off one another, and that sacks really are a team effort and a team stat. But last couple questions. The first one is, who's the most important player in your mind that a lot of people aren't talking about right now, or is maybe kind of an under-the-radar guy who's going to be key in this game that might not make a lot of headlines before Sunday night?
I actually think it's Nottie. If he plays like he did on Thursday, that's going to go a long way toward dispelling some concerns up front people have had about the Chiefs, right? He was splitting double teams. I mean, he was incredible. And if he does that, you bring Frank Clark back. I mean, you have Frank Clark. You bring Chris Jones back. His defensive line, there's talent up there. Colin Saunders too. For a rookie, he was doing stuff, man. That's hard to. You know what I always say? Rookies typically are good, but if Saunders is going to play like that, and Nottie play like that, they got a shot, and that's where it starts this week. It really does. Also, it was really good to see Reggie Ragland in the fold. Yep. Reggie's somebody who really cares about football. It matters to him, and his ability against the run, it was useful on Thursday. So he helped transform the way that defense looks. So it's really that trio, man. If the Chiefs get good play out of those guys, a lot of concerns people have about the defense, I think, go by the wayside. Yeah, I think that you just mentioned the 3 points, the Chiefs' run defense. It was run blitzes, it was Derek Nottie playing out of his mind, and it was Reggie Ragland stepping up and playing. He had 25 defensive snaps against the Broncos, had just 19 total in the 6 games before that, so that was a huge thing for him. We'll see if that carries over to this game, and then if that ends up happening, does Rodgers go no huddle and try to keep him on the field and get him in space against Jones and Williams and all the backs? But before we let you go, the last question, it's going to be, put you on the spot. What is your prediction for Sunday night? I think the Chiefs keep it close. I do. I think Green Bay wins. Man, it's a great football team. Green Bay's really good this year. And we don't know where Patrick's at. We don't know where we don't know where that's going to wind up. There's a chance. There's definitely a path for the Chiefs to win. It starts with winning the turnover battle, running the football, doing that type of thing. But Green Bay, for the most part, is at full strength, which is more than you can say for the Chiefs right now. So we'll see, man. We'll see. You just made Chiefs Kingdom upset
They're upset with the people's champ right now. But you're being.
I gotta call it like I see it.
But you've got an opinion. You're being honest. We appreciate that. I know you're going to be there Sunday night. Are you going to participate in the pregame light show? Pregame introductions. You get the Chiefs app. You can put it up in the press box. Nobody will say anything, I promise. No one will make fun of you up there, I promise, Steve.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know the truth about that, don't we?
Well, everybody else who's watching, you participate in the light show if you're coming out to Arrowhead. Terez Paylor, we appreciate your time, man.
All right. Thanks, man.